It's your girl, Rocky B, and you're tuned into another episode of The Rundown. But today, it's a little special because I have a special guest with me, and I want to call this Off the Record. Sounds good, right? Off the Record with my girl, LETICIA ASTACIO. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so there's nothing fancy with it. All right, good. Okay. You know what? You're always smiling. Why? Even when the media is trying to paint you as a villain, you are always smiling in the news, everywhere. Why do you keep such a cheerful disposition even though you're going through all these hardships, all these adversities?
You know, I remember going into court one day and having this conversation with one of the attorneys, and I was like, if I cry, are we done here? And he was like, well, no, I don't think, maybe people just like you. And I was like, oh, so people like me and all of this is still going on. Who the hell cares? I don't care about that. If I cry and we're done, then I will pull out some tears. But if it doesn't change anything, why can't I be happy?
Right.
Why can't I just focus on counting this all to joy and being like, well, I guess this is what's supposed to be happening in my life right now. I try to enter every situation as though I've chosen it myself. Because I can be in a situation and be upset and wish that things were different than they were. But that doesn't accomplish anything other than me being unhappy.
Right.
Or I can be like, oh, well, this is what we're doing. All right.
Right.
Let's run with it. Let's see what this leads to. You know what I mean?
Right. So what about those people that take that attitude and perceive it as you making a mockery of the system?
I cannot control other people's minds or their perceptions or what they feel. To me, if you look at someone who's smiling and you're offended by that, you've got some real work you need to do in your life. Because if you can find a smile to be offensive, you're going through some things.
Right.
And you probably need to really, it's like I remember talking to, it's like when you don't like somebody. You know how you don't like somebody, and if you don't like them, like you really don't like them, like, ugh. I hate the way she laughs. She got the ugliest laugh, and like she's 3. Like, how do you hate the sound of a child's laughter? But when you don't like somebody, you just don't like them. And
right.
So it's like that. It's like, that doesn't have anything to do with me.
Right. So you basically don't care. This is who you are. Is this who you are?
It has taken me forever, and I think that's one of the benefits of this process is that I've learned to be very comfortable with who I am, and I've figured out in this process. I was telling my sister, I'm like, I'm 37 years old now, and I just found out I like having short hair. Almost 40 years.
And you look good.
Thank you.
And you look good, girl.
But I've always had long hair. I've always thought you're supposed to have long hair. That's what women do. I don't like doing my hair.
Right.
So I got long hair so I can throw it in a bun, put it in a ponytail because that's what I think I'm supposed to do. I don't like that. So I feel like this is the most authentic I've probably ever been comfortable being because it was so much trying to fit into people's ideas of what I should be. And that is stifling and that is difficult. And so now it's like, oh, you don't like me. Well, there's a line. And there's no reason for you to ever let me know.
you have a line.
Yeah. And
you have a line of people that don't like you.
And get in line and go talk to them about it because I don't need to, this is not information that's pertinent to my life. You don't like me. Okay, I don't know you. How about that? That's the weirdest part. You dislike me and I don't know you exist. Right. You should go work on that. That's a you thing. You know what I mean?
So all the hateful comments that you get on social media and all the media scrutiny, it doesn't affect you at all.
No, I don't want to say that. It certainly has affected me at times greatly. But at this point, I think it's being in a different place mentally. When I was going through it and I was having a hard time, it seemed like that stuff was always at me and in my face and always coming at me. And now I don't even really see it. I'm like in such a different space. And it's like, I know my attorney is getting a lot of mail prior to trial and getting social media stuff. And he's like, well, have you seen the comments? And I'm like, no, I actually haven't. No, I'm like, I don't know. The poll says everyone hates me. I don't know what they say. I don't seek that out, but I also don't even let it in, I guess. I don't see the negativity. Like, I'm in this little beautiful bubble of peace and happiness. And the people that have access to me are the people who think I'm great. So
awesome.
that's what I hear primarily.
And you do have a lot of support.
Yeah.
Aside from all the backlash and whatnot, you do have a lot of support from the urban community, and to the point where you're actually taking attention away from a lot of other politics that's going on right now. How have you embraced that support? Are you more in the public eye now? Do you more embrace the community now?
I think that I've always been in the community. Like I'm from Rochester. I was born here. So I grew up off of Lyle Avenue and Sherman Street. And nobody knows where that is, so I always say down the street from the Cordial. So there's a little strip club that used to be, look, everybody, yeah.
Oh, down the street from the strip club, okay.
So I grew up off of Lyle, and I've always been in this community. The difference is I've always been really low-key. I was in the urban suburban program, so I went to school in Irondequoit, so no one really knew who I was in the city of Rochester outside of, after I finished law school, I would come back and I was on boards and I chaired things, but no one knew who I was. I also weighed a lot more. I've lost a ton of weight, some of that publicly, some of it privately. So I've always been here and I've always been committed to this area. This new notoriety has resulted in me feeling like I can make a larger impact in some instances, and so I will pop up places to try to lend credibility to an event or to a person, or you know what I mean, more often than I would before. But being in the community or doing things in the community is not new to me. I just have never broadcasted it, and now anything I do is broadcasted, so I think it's a little more in people's faces, you know what I mean?
Right. But the thing is, okay, so all the bad stuff you do gets broadcast. Okay, but you actually have some accolades to you. You are the first Hispanic, is it woman or judge? Period.
No,
city
woman.
Court?
We had a male already.
Okay, so first Hispanic city court judge.
Yes.
And no one publicized that.
No, and to be honest, like prior to all of this, and even while it was going on, I really didn't like to be in the media. So I never, a lot of people say the things that they do themselves. They'll call a press release for themselves, but I just kind of was like, I'm doing what I'm doing. Bad boys move in silence. I'm going to just do what I'm doing quietly over here. So I've never had, I've been the first of a couple of things in Rochester, but I've never had the media
Tell us, what have you been the first at?
So
name your first.
So in the district attorney's office, I was the first person to ever get a conviction for predatory sex offense against a child. So when I went to the DA's office, I went up and then you go into like your bureau. My bureau was the Domestic Violence Bureau. Okay. So in the Domestic Violence Bureau, you prosecute primarily child sexual abuse cases. It says DV, and so they throw in, some DV cases, but it's mostly child sex cases. And I chose to go there for a reason because most people know I have a lot of feelings about incarceration in prison. And I was actually slated, they wanted me to go to drugs. And drugs and guns it's a drug, SIB is the bureau. And I was like, yeah, no, guys, I know why people sell drugs. Because they need to take care of their families, and I don't feel comfortable putting them in prison for that. But I don't feel bad about putting a child molester in prison. So I went to that bureau, and in that bureau, it's a nasty bureau. It's often children. There's not physical evidence. I never lost a case. Ever. I won every single trial that I ever tried in that bureau. And so I was on a streak, actually. When I was running, I tried my 13th case and I lost. It was my first one. I lost my first.
Lucky number 13. Yeah,
I was like,
whatever.
It's a bad omen.
Yes.
It's a bad omen. It started off so. But so while I was there, that's where I got that conviction. And that was a big deal because as opposed to 2 years or 10 years that a rape offense can carry, on predatory sexual assault against a child, you actually get life.
So the person you
prosecuted got
life.
2 life terms, actually. And the thought process is that when you molest a child, you give them a life sentence as well. The children were 9 and 12 years old at the time. And so that was my first conviction in the bureau, and I was like so nervous. And so, but after hearing them kids testify, I didn't have any issues at all. No, but so that was my first in the DA's office, and then I left and I went into private practice, and that was a big deal because lots of people were leaving the DA's office, but for the most part, the men were going into private practice and the women were going to firms that already existed or banks, and it was like, not to say anything bad about any of the men, but for the most part, the women that were leaving were significantly more organized and together and prepared and, intelligent, and they would be second guessing themselves and doubting themselves. And the men would be like, the ones who you were helping them tie their tie or helping them get their schedule together, and they'd be like, I got this, I'm going to be a millionaire. Yeah. So when I left, I was hyped because I was the only woman going out, and there's not a huge market of black attorneys in Rochester. So that was a super exciting thing. And while I was in private practice, I got, I don't even remember, to be honest. I got an award for something. I think Up and Coming. I was one of the Up and Coming attorneys to watch. Right? Well, I was on a few boards and stuff, but so I was one of the Up and Coming attorneys to watch. And so it's crazy when you say that, to think back over my career and to think like, of all the things I was known for this to be the only thing anyone knows about me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So you got elected to city court judge.
Yes.
First Hispanic woman.
Yes.
How was that? How was that with your colleagues? How was the adversity within it? Was there any racial?
I have to be candid. City court is a very diverse bench.
Okay.
It is probably the only diverse bench that we have. So if you go down to the Rochester City Court bench, I think it's pretty much half and half.
Okay.
There's more men still, but people of color, there's a decent representation. We've got Judge Miller, Judge Morrison, Judge Johnson, Judge Lopez, depending on what you think about his race. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out, but I might not be. But so, I think it was about half and half. So that was a decent mix.
Right. So you didn't feel like a target at all. So
no, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said that there was cultural diversity in city court. Because I like to shout out progress where it exists. But no, I felt a target immediately. They did. You have to think about the fact that prior to, it's not like I get plucked out of one environment and put in this new environment. These are the judges that I just practiced in front of. You know what I mean? So we already have relationships. Right.
That may not be.
Right. And I was a defense attorney. So I may not agree with some judges' positions on sentencing, or I might have been an advocate or have, been in front of them. And also, when I ran, it was a contested race. I was not a candidate that anyone supported. I'm not a politician.
Right.
So I didn't have any political backing. I didn't come in and have anyone say, this is my candidate. It was like, no, she's not ours. No, she's not ours either. I was nobody's candidate. So, people had aligned themselves, and some of the judges had candidates that they had wanted to win and expressed to me in uncertain terms that they thought that they were better candidates than I was. Or so no, I don't want to say that. I got along with most of the judges. Okay. Absolutely. I didn't get along with all of the judges, no. Okay. And that was pretty immediate.
So let's go to 2016 when you got pulled over for your DWI. Do you feel as if that was, were you targeted then?
I don't want to say that. It's difficult for me to believe that someone would have gone out of their way to set up a whole situation for this to occur.
Have you thought, has it been in the back of your mind? Because it sounds like it may have been in the back of your mind a little bit.
Well, no, I think that that situation really was just a clashing of two attitudes. And I think that it's something that happens on a regular and consistent basis with police officers who don't know how to deal with people of color. Right. Really, I think that was something that just got blown out of proportion. I think that what happened post-arrest was orchestrated behind the scenes. But I think that the arrest in and of itself, I don't think that nobody knew. It's not like, I know that the media presented all of this stuff, but in real life, I was going to the gym. No one knew I was going to the gym.
You were on your way to the gym?
I was on my way to the gym. That and the media never presented that, but it came out at the hearing. It came out at trial. First of all, I was like, this is so stupid on so many levels. Please tell me when I've ever been 2.5 hours early to work. I don't be early nowhere ever. I'm never early in my whole life. And I'm 2.5 hours early to work. No, I was going to the gym. And I go to the Y. I am like an avid body pump person, and there was a body pump class at the Elm Grove Y at 8 o'clock in the morning. So the backstory that I give everyone is that on February 13th, 2015, my little cousin was murdered. At around 7 o'clock in the morning, his mom called me. So this was February 13th, 2016, literally like a year to the day. Woke up, crappy mood. There was a blizzard. I was like, you know what? I have work today because it was a Saturday. We had arraignments. It's like, before I go to work, I'm already awake. I'm going to get up and go to the gym and try to refocus my mind for the day. You start the day, it's a bad day, and you start speaking that over your life, and it's a bad day now. So I'm like, I'm not going to just accept this being a bad day. I'm going to get up, go to the gym. That always makes my day better. So I got up and I was en route to the Elm Grove YMCA, and I had a blowout. I pull over and stop, and I'm stopped when a trooper approaches me and asks if I'm okay.
So you weren't intoxicated at all?
Well, my opinion and my position has always been, and people get very angry, but it was 7 o'clock in the morning. I had not consumed any alcohol that morning at all whatsoever. So my position has always been, no, I wasn't intoxicated. And it's two-pronged, and I think this is where people get irritated, but I'm an attorney. So to be honest with you, even if I was completely drunk, you have to prove it. And that was always my issue with my case, because I don't think as an attorney, as a judge, as a former prosecutor, there was sufficient proof of intoxication or operation. And so that's when I say the initial incident, do I think that was orchestrated? No. I think that was just an overzealous trooper who had an attitude with me. I got an attitude with him.
Yeah.
You know, and I never would be like, to be honest with you, after getting elected, I was really kind of very uncomfortable with people calling me judge or identifying myself as a judge, because people treat you differently. And the experience is completely inauthentic. It's just so weird, and I hate.
Yes, because that's not your personality at all.
No, and people are, if they curse, they apologize, or if do you mind if I? And I'm like
you're a priest,
right? And so I would be like creeped out about even associating. So I never said to him, "I'm a judge, and you're being an asshole." I just got smart, and tried to, and told him the law. I'm going to take you to court. Well, I'm right. I'm telling him the law. I'm like, you're tripping, and so I think that the situation escalated because some police officers, some authority figures are like that. If a situation starts to escalate, they don't know how to de-escalate it. They kind of antagonize it, and I can be antagonistic as well.
You're a woman,
and so the situation just kept volleying until it became a thing. And then once it became a thing, I was like, okay, wait. Okay, I didn't win this argument. Let's back up, because we are going out of control now. But so it's interesting because people think they have these ideas about what was actually happening because of what was presented. And so many people don't know, but they have very strong opinions about it. And that's really frustrating because I just have to accept people's opinions. And I want to be like, no, this is what happened and this is what happened.
Right.
And the funniest part is when people say, like, you never admitted it, you never accepted responsibility, it's always been interesting to me because realistically, my demographic, I don't want to make it seem like they don't care about DWIs or they don't take them seriously, because certainly they do. But this was not insurmountable to my demographic. I could have certainly came out and said, I did this, I'm sorry, it's wrong. And no one would have blinked an eye or batted an eye. And I said I was going to have a live about this. I haven't done one in a little bit. People were talking when I was gone and everything happened with Adam about why you plead guilty versus having a trial, and why a person who is innocent might plead guilty. Well, when this situation occurred, I had the opportunity to plead guilty to a DWAI, which is a violation and is not a crime. And this would have been over. And there wouldn't have been a misdemeanor. And I never would have faced potential removal. And I would have, all of this would have been done. And none of this could have occurred. And I said no, because I didn't do it.
Right.
And you see now the outcome that has come from me deciding that I'm going to have a trial. When you say, why do people plead guilty? It's because you have literally the might of the people of the state of New York. You have the United States government against you. And that is quite a sizable entity.
Is that the easier way out?
You know what you're going to get. If I would have pled guilty to DWAI, none of this would even exist. My entire life would be different. I would have known exactly the outcome.
So do you regret not taking that guilty plea?
I don't believe.
You wish all of this would just go away?
It would be so amazing to just go back to what my life looked like. But I think that realistically, sometimes when you're outside of a situation, you romanticize it. And what my life looked like in my mind's eye is probably not what it looked like in real life. When I was on the bench, I had plenty of problems with my colleagues. It was frustrating in a lot of regards, and I didn't like it. And I also was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I think there's a pressure when you're a person of color and you're in a law enforcement role, particularly because you're seen by other people of color as a sellout automatically. You're a judge, you just put all the people in jail. Now, you've never been in my court. You have no idea what I actually did on the bench, but people harbor that type of idea about you. So there's also this kind of pressure to pull your, how sometimes they say that people of color, when they get positions of power, it's like they want to prove that they're not that kind of black person, so they're harder on black people. It's like the opposite. It's like, okay, we are one. I'm about to hook you up. Okay,
right.
There's some pressure to be like, I did not abandon you. I'm not in this role to be your enemy. I'm in this role to be an ally and to give you compassion and to extend grace where I can. So I don't believe in regrets. No, I don't think anything happens by mistake. I don't know why all of this was supposed to happen. I mean, if you think about it, I was literally on the bench for a little over a year. I was not, when people are like, she doesn't care, the amount of work, time, effort, and money that I put into getting elected The idea that I wouldn't care about that job that I worked so incredibly hard for is like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And if you've ever been in my courtroom, then it's not even a question. That has been, I think, probably one of the most beautiful things about this whole ordeal. People who were in my courtroom reached out to me. And those are the people whose opinions I value the most. Right. And their opinions were always like, you said things to my child that really made them think and changed, they're different children now. They didn't do those same things. You cared about me and you could tell you cared when I was there. And it's just like, oh, okay, well then I did what I wanted to do. Right. And my personal intention was to do it longer, but that's not up to me.
So have you lost faith in the judicial system now that you've been through all of this?
I think that people suppose that because I was a judge, I had faith in the judicial system, and that's actually misplaced. I decided to become a part of the system because I knew it was broken. And I thought that I could change it. I don't know how to change a system from the outside of it. I don't ever knock anybody for protesting, but I don't know what that accomplishes. I don't knock, I was arguing with somebody online the other day.
You're entertaining this? I know. You're arguing with people.
I try not to.
I thought we're not going to do that. I thought we're going to be happy-go-lucky people.
This person
you just won a big case.
Somehow. And I stopped. I was like, you know what? You're right. We're done here. But she said something to me about how I didn't help some person, right? It's always like, where were you when this person... I'm like, I don't know. I'm one person. I don't know where I was when that happened. You should have called me. But she said, we are not the same. And I said, you know what? We are not the same. You're posting free him till it's backwards, and I get a law degree and I free him. So we're talking at bars.
Oh.
Okay, bars.
Oh, did you just throw that? Did you just throw the credentials? Okay, so you just had your Kanye moment.
But people talk about, just like we were just saying, you talk about what were you doing? What are you doing, Boo? Oh, the hashtag. Yeah, was that commissary? It wasn't. You didn't do anything. You posted something that helped no one. Congratulations. Oh. So
your whole tone just changed up. I'm like, okay, sorry.
No, I'm saying that, when you want to do something or when you want to make change or when you figure out a ways to do that.
Yes. And for you, that was getting into the system.
Right.
And not just.
So it was never that. I thought
outside.
The system, I think that my thought process in getting in was that the system was broken and that wasn't necessarily intentional. That was oversight, that was greed, that was a lot of different systems working together, that was systemic racism that people weren't aware of, that was not that it was an intentional thing, that it had been years and years of conditioning. So what my experience did show me is that the system is intentionally broken, that it's not broken, it's working exactly how it's supposed to. The system is designed to operate a certain way. And if you're a cog in that wheel, you're dispensable. But what my experience taught me is that no, the system's not broken. The system's functional. The system was created for a certain purpose, and it's providing the outcome it was supposed to. You know what I mean? It's resulting in the outcomes that it was meant to result in. If you've ever seen 13th, that's kind of what that entire documentary is about. It's like, okay, slavery's over. How are we replacing it? Prison. Oh, yes, that's a wonderful idea. If you are in prison, then you are no longer a human being, and you don't get entitled to, minimum wage, and now so slavery or prison, the prison system is just an extension of the slavery system. So I knew that it had issues. I knew that we were disproportionately incarcerating Black and brown people, and I knew that they were getting harsher sentences. And I knew that when we did all of these models for addiction and mental health, and we were being left out of that picture. So my thought process was, how do you change something? Well, you become a part of it.
So while you're going through all of this, knowing what you know, all right, knowing that you're going to be judged now, how did you approach it, knowing that, okay, the system is intentionally broken? So when it's down for you to be your trial, how did you walk in? What was your mentality when you walk in, knowing that? Did you know that, okay, this is not going to rule in my favor because I already know how it is, or did you think you had an upper hand because you know how it's run?
When it started, I thought, because I know the law, I thought, this is, when it started, I was unfazed. People were like, she doesn't care. It wasn't that I didn't care. I was like, I literally wasn't driving and I wasn't drunk. There's no way I'm ever going to be convicted of this. So I was not worried.
You were unfazed. Yeah.
I was like,
it's easy.
Right. Oh. I'm like, even like I said to you, even if I was totally drunk, I also know the law. So I'm like, you have to prove these things and they can't prove it. So I was not worried. I was irritated because I was already having issues at work with my colleagues. And I was like, I don't need this. I don't need an extra thing. They're bothering me over nothing. I don't need to give them something to bother me over. But I wasn't worried. When the conviction happened, everything just started spiraling out of control, because that was just this weird collision of, this is not possible. And that was when you say my coming to of ideas about the system, it was like, oh, this system is, what I say all the time is, I was a person with a law degree who was actively employed as a judge that knows the law. And if I can encounter the criminal justice system and it can completely strip my life and change it for the worse, right? Then think about a person who is in crisis, who is in between jobs, who is living in an apartment. What do you expect to happen to them when they encounter a system that is this powerful? And why is that why is that justice? Why is it justice for a person whose life is already in crisis to come into contact with a system that can literally destroy them over what we've identified as an unclassified misdemeanor? Those consequences are disproportionate to, what other people face on a regular and consistent basis. Yeah, so it was incredibly eye-opening, but to truths that I guess I probably needed to know existed. There were things that clients had said to me over the years that I got to see firsthand. Yeah. They would say, like, my lawyer doesn't talk to me, or my lawyer doesn't. And I'd be like, yeah, that's weird that your lawyer would. And then I had a lawyer who, and I'm like, I have a whole law degree. Don't ignore me. I can be of assistance. I can, there are things that I can offer there. And it was like, oh, you do treat me differently. Or, the way that the judges treat people, or the way it was experiences that I had in also perceptions that people had articulated to me that suddenly made a lot of sense. Yeah,
because you were living in it then and there. And
I was seeing it from a completely different perspective. A lot of times, I was saying to my lawyer the other day, someone will say something in court. Let's say the prosecutor stands up and says something. It's totally untrue. But he says it. So it's on the record. There's a woman sitting there who's typing. Your lawyer gets up and rather than restating it, because it's going to take a bunch of extra words, he adopts what the prosecutor said and just launches into his own argument, because the point is his argument right now, what the prosecutor said. The judge reiterates what the prosecutor says, so now it's been said 3 times. It wasn't true any time, right? It was wrong every time, but now it's part of the record forever. And so in my rational mind as an attorney, I would be saying to my client, it doesn't matter because the point is whatever the argument was. But as sitting there as a defendant, it was like, no, but it does matter. And it matters most because the media is going to repeat what was just said on the record in spite of the fact that it's not true. And then it's going to be true. Because once they publish it to the masses, you'll never change their mind about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it was that perspective that I've never had, that people have said to me, or, the prosecutor said this, but it wasn't true. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is what people feel when they're going through this. Right. Yeah.
So you were discouraged at a point.
Oh my God, I was discouraged at so many points. Yeah, so many points.
But then now, fast forward, you just won this big case. Now, but you had to move it to a whole different city.
Yes.
So you had to. You think it was a had to?
I do. I think that the problem, right, is that people are sheep, and that in the nicest possible way, but it's true. So if people think it's trendy to dislike me, irrespective of what their actual feelings are, they will jump on the I dislike. And I think this is how I helped not taking it so personally when people would say nasty things, because a lot of times people would be having horrible arguments, calling me all types of things on social media, and then they would inbox me and be like, I really think you're so pretty. And I'd be like, weirdo? Wow. I don't talk to but it would be like a backdoor conversation where it's like, I actually just wanted your attention. And so I'm like, you don't know what people's incentives or motives are when they're saying stuff, so just leave them alone. But I think that when you get in the comment section of certain news sites, right, the comments are crazy, but it's just because you have an audience. Those people in real life, when I think it put it in proper perspective to me, the first time that I went to jail, I was like, I'm going to get hate mail. That's going to be crazy. Like, people are going to take their time to write me. Not one letter. What I did get was letters from, and this was like the biggest, most beautiful compliment to me. And I think also another reason why I'm probably not some people's ideal of what a judge is supposed to be. I got letters from prisoners. I got mad letters from prisoners, all the letters from prisoners, and I got all the love. I got all the handwritten cards. Ooh, I got
money on the books.
I got all the commissary. The deputies used to flip out. They would be like, "Do they know how much money you make?" I'm like, "They do. It's on the news every day." And I got all the commissary. I got all the love. I just got all the love. So that's why when you say like the negativity, people are like, you have more supporters than you think. I'm like, no, you think. I don't think. I think everybody loves me. I think everybody is just in love with the kid. So I got like, you know what happened? So when I got the first time I went to jail, my cousin was in prison. Like, I'm not joking. This is my real life. You know what I mean? My cousin was in prison, and I think he was in Orleans. And so I come on the news, and people were rowdy because I had a big butt, and I was bigger than I am now. But they're like, that was my judge. And people were like flipping out, and they're like, why do you guys care about a judge? And they're like, no, you don't know that judge. That judge is like for us. That judge cares about us. That judge treated us like a human. So I got a reputation with defendants for being a judge that treated them like human beings. So they would write me and be like, we know why they're doing this to you. You keep your head up. We need you. And that was the population that I wanted to be in this position for in the first place. You know what I mean? So the more that I got in trouble and the more that my reputation was just trashed in the media, the more I got support from people that were the people that I wanted to be inspiring. Mm-hmm. So it was always kind of,
right.
It was always a bittersweet. It was like, I'm glad you see me. You didn't see me before. You didn't know I was here. And I just wanted to inspire you.
Light, right. Thank you for seeing me.
But I just wanted to inspire you. And now that you see me and whatever, like, you feel inspired. So it worked. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It worked. And do you think, apparently do you think the change that you tried to create within the system is why you became such a huge target?
Yes. I think that I was told by people who tried to mentor me, and this is ego. I try to be honest about things and own them where I can. They said, Leticia, you want to do all of these new innovative things and you want to be this new young progressive judge, you can. Just when people say stuff to you about you, I don't like people telling me what to do. Especially if you're not the boss of me. If you're the boss of me, then okay. But if you're not even the boss of me, then why are you talking to me?
Oh, I have a hard time with authority too.
Yes,
judge.
And if you're not my authority, though, then I'd be like double. Like,
who are you exactly?
Where is so? I was told, just say okay. Just say okay, and then go do what you're gonna do. And I should have. For me, my big old mouth and my bad old attitude, I was like, I am a judge like you are a judge, and I'm gonna do what I want, and I didn't feel like I was being aggressive. I didn't feel like I was being argumentative because we are colleagues. We are both elected officials. You're not the boss of me. But at the same time, had I acquiesced to the fact that you're older and you're whatever, and I felt like, I'm not a punk. You're not going to tell me what to do. I don't have to pretend I'm going to do something different for you. But I made battles for myself that it's like, you pick your battles. I wouldn't have picked those in retrospect. Right. Those are not good ones. That was not good battle to die on.
So wait, why do you have this strong personality? Is this something that from your childhood that you had to?
I don't know. That's just how I am.
Okay.
And so it's just like, you like it or you don't. Because that's at the end.
What is your sign?
I'm a Taurus.
I'm
a Taurus.
Taurus. Okay, bull. The horns. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. So you won this case. How does it feel?
It feels amazing.
It feels amazing.
It does.
Are you starting to see the change, or are you hopeful now? A little bit more hopeful in the system now, or
no,
not at all. Okay.
No. This was not about the system. Like, there were so many deficiencies. In fact, this case should have never been brought. This case only further destroyed any hope or optimism I had in the fact that the system was about justice and fairness. No one else in the world would have ever been charged with this.
So you won, and you still don't believe.
Baby, justice delayed is justice denied.
Okay.
I won, but for a year I had a felony hanging over my head that significantly impacted my ability to make a living, right? Because you have to think about the fact that I'm out here and now I do not have my job through the unified court system, but that's okay. I am an attorney, but I'm getting clients to retain me knowing that I'm in jeopardy of losing my law license.
Yes.
You think that's difficult? I think that realistically, if anybody else would have been in this situation, I would love to see someone have pulled through it with the grace and the strength. And that doesn't sound humble, but when I reflect on what I've gone through for 3 years.
No, you did it really.
I'm like, people are like, well, this day you acted weird. And I'm like, yeah, because I was literally being like psychologically attacked publicly. And not defended, and not like, at the end of the day, what do we know now? We know that I went into a sporting goods store and I had an associate call the police on me for no reason. because I was acquitted and exonerated by a jury, and people don't like that, but it is what it is. I went into a store. You know, in this day and age, when you call the police on people of color and they end up dead because you were bored or you were scared because there was a barbecue, that's what happened. I went into a sporting goods store and someone called the police on me because they recognized me from the news. I went into a bowling alley and someone attacked me because they recognized me from the news. And this has been sanctioned in this community. When have you ever seen a judge, an elected judge, get attacked by someone and no one care? The court system sanctioned a level of treatment that I've never seen before. And so I had to be strong because I had to stick up for my own self. Nobody was coming to save me.
Right.
You know, and so I think that was a difficult lesson to learn. But hope, I don't think I've ever lost hope. I've always been like, okay, I just want this to be over. I've never thought it was going to be the end all be all. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, I just want to move on to the next step.
Do you think it's over?
I don't.
Are you going to get any more trouble? Can you tell me right now that I'm done getting into trouble?
Absolutely not. Because getting into trouble isn't up to me. When I was arrested last time, I literally posted a letter accusing my employer of discrimination and got arrested 6 days later. Am I going to be quiet? That's what when you're saying to me, are you done getting into trouble? That means, are you going to stop speaking your truth? Are you going to stop agitating? Are you going to stop exposing racism and corruption in Rochester, New York? No, I'm not going to stop.
I don't get that from you either.
So the question is, are you going to stop getting into trouble? The reason, people thought I was being defiant, but the reason that I said when I came back from Thailand, just give me a year in jail, is because I did not do anything wrong. There was nothing wrong with me leaving the country. There was nothing that I did to violate my conditional discharge. So when I came home to deal with this ridiculous accusation and I went to jail, I said, oh, this is a game. You guys are going to you're going to use this as another mechanism by which to put me in my place. You're going to put me in jail whenever you want to. That's what you're going to do through probation. You're going to say I violate whenever you want. You're going to make up bogus violations, like the violation that I had permission to leave the county, but I didn't have permission to stop at Del Lago. No, I have permission to leave the county. I don't have to tell you every place I'm going along, and then I'm going to get gas. Is that okay, massa? That's not how probation works. So when you say I'm going to get in trouble, am I going to shut up? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the mistake that I think that they're starting to realize that they made, right, is my whole life I've tried to be, I'm so type A. I've tried to be so perfect and so right and do everything right and stay in the lines. And, once I had my daughter, prior to that, no, I'm not, whatever. But once I had my daughter, I tried to be this beacon of light and to be this path of success for her and to walk this fine line. So I've lived my whole life so afraid of ever messing up. And that's why when you say, I didn't know you wouldn't have known me because you can't point to something. I've lived my whole life on this straight path, so afraid of messing up. So what they've done that's been so empowering is I'm not afraid of anything
anymore.
I'm not afraid of it. I used to be like, oh my God, jail. I don't really mess with jail. I've been to jail. It's really not that big a deal.
Now.
Y'all out here crying for no reason.
Yeah.
So your baby mama harder than a lot of these people. I've been in jail.
You've been in jail.
So when I went and they were 3 years probation, I was like, no, I'm here already. I already got my T-shirts and my books and, I already got my bunk set up the way I like it. I'll just stay here. You guys will hold that probation because I don't want to play with you. So if I'm going to do 8 months, I'll do 8 months right now while it's comfortable.
Yes.
It was not... People were like, oh, you don't care. You're going to be defiant. I said, give me the maximum penalty allowable by law. I don't know how you can accept more responsibility than that. That's the max sentence you can serve on a DWI. I said, I'll eat that. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Did you even know you were this strong? Did your strength surprise you?
No, girl.
Because you are talking like gangster. So did you even know you had this gangster in you? Did you even know you were this strong?
The thing is, I'm from the hood. I don't mean to be I'm so streeter, but I grew up in the streets and my family, this is where I'm from. This is the population I identify with more. So when I was in the DA's office, people would often talk about bad people. If you killed somebody, you're a bad person. If you sell drugs, you're a bad person. I'd be like, a lot of people I know and love sell drugs. A lot of people I know and love have killed people. I don't believe in bad people. I think people do bad things. And so when we would have conversations, I would say, you need to remember that I have a lot more in common with defendants than I do with you. Your life's not my life. I have a lot more in common with defendants than I do with most of the people that are in the judiciary. And I always saw that as a strength because the system is supposed to be fair and equitable. And I think it's important that you be able to see the human side of people that appear in front of you, and that you extend compassion to them and that you see their humanity. But I think that it might have been perceived as a liability with me being on the bench, because the system, and I think I experienced that firsthand, that the system is really not set up, this whole presumption of innocence, and that's really not true. You know, if you were presumed innocent, then you wouldn't get arrested and then go in front of a judge to say, can I have bail and get out of jail? You know, you'd be at home and they'd be like, come in when you have some time. Just the way the whole thing's set up, I think I've looked at it differently. You know what I mean?
So what are we doing now?
So I am in practice.
Okay.
I was playing this little stupid game on Facebook where people could ask you questions yesterday.
Oh, God, the profoundly thing?
Yes. So
did you get anything ridiculous?
No. This is what I'm telling you.
Oh, you get compassion?
I just get all the love and light. It was like,
okay,
you're so wonderful. We just love you. And I'm like, oh, I love you guys too. No, it was all nice stuff. Why the hell did I even tell you this? I don't remember what the point I was making was.
What now? Yeah, because I'm like, what are you doing now?
Somebody goes, are you a lawyer? And I was like, yes, but apparently I need to advertise.
Well, there you go. If you need a lawyer.
I thought everyone knew that I was in practice, but it's true too. When I walk into courtrooms, sometimes, you know, people are like, oh, that's the judge. Or when I say, my dad, my poor father, you know, this has been so hard on my family because I don't get in trouble.
How has it been for your daughter?
My daughter, she stopped coming to court appearances. You know, she got a little spice in her. People are like, were you disappointed? And I was like, no, you know, my daughter went to law school with me. I had her when I was 17. So she came through this process. And when I was in law school, when I was in the DA's office, she would be in the DA's office filing files. And you know what I mean? So I'm like, my daughter is a better lawyer than a lot of the lawyers y'all hired. Like, she's been through this process. She knows what was happening was unfair. So she was frustrated.
Right.
And I'm never going to be mad. I've taught my children to stand up for what, you know, I see so many people who can't advocate for themselves and who don't know how to advocate for themselves. Self-advocacy is so important. So I wasn't upset. Somebody mentioned that was the only time I ever cried. And that it was not because I was upset with my daughter. It was because deputies were on either side of me and they were like, sit down. And I was trying to, you have to keep in mind at this time in the back of my mind, I'm still trying to keep this job. You know, I'm not doing anything, and I'm still trying to keep this job. And so I go to sit down, and deputies go to walk to my daughter, and I'm like, no. So I'm like, damn, I'm about to get arrested for real this time, and this job is out the window because, like, not that one. I'll go to jail, go to hell.
Don't touch that one.
That's the one you got me all messed up.
You gangster.
I'm not.
Were you a fighter?
When I was younger, I might have gotten expelled from school once. I might have gotten expelled from the whole urban suburban program and then allowed to come back.
I might have.
Okay,
allegedly.
But that was a whole different lifetime. Like, I'm a grown up now. I don't fight anybody. But when you push someone to their limits,
not physically, but you do with.
Well, no, that day, right? If they touched my daughter, me and the deputies was gonna fight physically. Like, because that's my baby. Those are my children. Like, that's all. We don't play those games. But like, no, I'm an adult. I got a whole law degree. I'm not trying to fight nobody. Absolutely not.
I don't believe you.
No, I'm not trying to, right? But if you take me there, then that's the issue. So that's why I try to insulate myself from people, because I want to be all love and light. But then sometimes, you know, you pull me a little bit.
I get this Jekyll and Hyde thing going on where you're like, you transition so well. Like, I would think you were a Gemini. You're like, I'm all love and light. But if you...
Right, well, because some things, like, are off limits. Kids are off limits.
Yes.
Come on. Kids are off limits for everybody. And then most of the time, if you give me a second, because love and light is not my natural disposition, right? My natural disposition is, like, I'm going to get with you. Run up when you see me, then we gonna see. Like, it's my natural.
Yo, why do you have a lyric for everything? You notice that you have a song lyric for every, like.
I actually really do, and I've done this my whole life growing up. So I went to school for communications too, and I used to think I was gonna be on the radio, and that was my plan, not to go to law school. And I realized that I like music. I have a soundtrack to my whole life. I really do. And so I would speak in Jay-Z quotes, like all of law school, high school, and college. Jay-Z was just my favorite. And so I would constantly quote all of his albums. That's how I would talk. People would be like, you talk in lyrics.
You talk in lyrics.
Like, yes.
No, like you have a lyric for every
but most of me tries to be love and light. That's trying to be my centered place. So even when people are rude, my initial reaction might be to get with him, and then I'll come back later and be like, I'm sorry that I called you ugly. You are ugly, but I shouldn't have said that because I'm trying to come from a place of love and light. So,
so are you currently in a relationship?
No.
What
No.
do you think you're hard to date?
I think I'm impossible to date.
Are you okay? Aside from having these intimidating careers, as a person, are you not like you give me this non-tolerant attitude? Like I don't tolerate bullshit.
So I have been, prior to all of this, I was married. I met my husband when I was like 20. And so I was with him forever and ever and ever. So I am not up on the Rochester dating scene. He was not even from Rochester. And so post relationship, I like have dabbled in the Rochester dating scene via living vicariously through people on Facebook. And I'm all set. I'm good, love, and joy. Yes. I'm all set on that.
We're all set.
First of all, you know your limits, right? So I'm Puerto Rican. I love hard. You are a West Indian woman. I love hard, okay? I'm not trying to get arrested for no stuff I actually do. So I don't need to be slicing your tires or cutting you or throwing your clothes out the window. Like, I don't need...
She said, I'm not trying to be arrested for things I actually do, right. Okay? Let's just make sure we get that clear.
So, like, you know, I remember being on the bench and you know, Aghar. I don't know if you're familiar with Aghar. Like... Aghar is, I call you 17,000 times in one day because you didn't answer your phone. I'll call you from restricted. I'll call you from my kid's phone. I'll call you from... And, like, to me, that is just a normal relationship. Like, I'm going to call you when I want to call you, and I might pull up. So you better stop playing. So, no, I don't need that in my life. You don't need that
in your life.
No, I watch, and I don't even know if it's real, but I look at people on Facebook. I look... The game I was talking about last night, and the girl was like, I was in your house and you got red carpet and you got black pillowcases and you shouldn't work so much and your man had me here and there, and I'm like, everybody's gonna die. The man's gonna die. The OT supervisor who keep calling me to come to work gotta die. Everybody is I don't need that in my life. So I can't play those kind of games. I don't know. Like, I have too much to lose to allow someone in my life who is going to know that I don't have control over my emotions. So I've thought about it, right? And I'm like, I need to go to Toronto or someplace that I can sufficiently distance myself from the crazy because I can't here. I can't. And also, everybody in Rochester shares. And I'm selfish. I don't share men, money, or food. Those are mine. And so I'm not with it. I'm not with this whole recycling program of, you know.
Recycling program.
I am not even trying to be funny. And I was married for like, you know, I don't know, 14 years. So it's not like, when I talk to you, it's not like I have a cachet of men, you know, that I rotate through.
Right.
I talk to one person at a time. And that is not my experience. And so I can't. You can't. I can't. No, I mean, like 1 in 4 people has herpes. Like, it's just too many games out here that I can't.
She has statistics. 1 in 4.
Herpes is really serious. Like, I don't know if you know, but I'm a little bit vain. That's the other thing I found out through this experience.
Yes, I'm here with you.
The mouth things, I just can't cope with you in that. So no, 1 in 4.
I left the guy because he had a cold sore.
A cold sore is herpes.
Yeah, but it's not like, what is it, herpes simplex 1 or something?
I don't want none of your simplex.
I didn't want to
keep all of them.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm doing every single simplex.
So let's state the obvious right now. Physically, you look amazing.
Thank
you. So this is you intentionally working out, or are you stressed out?
No, baby, this was totally inadvertent. So what you saw was when this all started, I was like in the best shape I've ever been in my life. I had literally just come back. Everybody asked me about I had just come back from DR. I just got in a tummy tuck. I've always been very open about my tummy tuck. You didn't know? Oh, girl, yes, I got snatched. I had just came back. When this happened, I had just come back from DR. So at my highest, I weighed like 360 pounds. I was a big, big woman. There's a whole lot of women over here. And I lost a ton of weight and got down to like 230. And my stomach was gross. I did not like it.
Right, I understand. Candle. Okay.
So I went and I got a tummy tuck.
She said a melted candle.
I did. It was like a
You
mess.
just throw these things out there, and I have to retract. Like, wait, what?
So I went and in November, I got a tummy tuck. And then I came back and pre-tummy tuck, I was working out like crazy.
So there's no BBLs, so your butt is natural.
I don't Yes, you know how. Well, I'm not going to show y'all. I was going to say, you know how you know it's natural because I done lost weight and it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. This booty is sad. It is sleeping. I'd be like, wait a minute, wake up! You done made news. You can't be going to take naps in the middle.
You just made news. Come back.
So when you go, they can't really lipo you when they do, which is what they told me. Maybe they lied to me.
Oh, I don't know.
But they say they can't really lipo you when they do your stomach because they're already cutting.
Okay.
And there's so much blood loss.
Right. I think it's either or. You get lipo or you get a tummy tuck.
Right.
Okay.
So I got the tummy tuck, so I didn't have. Now I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not, because I believe if you can afford it, then you do whatever you want to do.
Right.
And trust me, one day these girls are going to be where they're supposed to be. Just give me a chance. But so I'm not knocking anyone. But I went and I got a tummy tuck. So post tummy tuck, that was in November. Remember, this arrest happened in February. I was working out like crazy. So that was my favorite. Like when I got arrested, those photos. Not, they're not good photos in that way, but I was like, girl,
you look good,
girl. I was just like so in love with myself. I was working out constantly, and that was like around 220. I wanted to be under 200 pounds. I felt like women should be under 200 pounds. So now I weigh 170. I don't think I've weighed 170 since I was probably 7 years old. I don't want to be this thin.
You don't want to be that thin.
I don't want to be
so
this
you
thin.
miss being a BBW.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I want to be 220 because I had to work out a whole ton to maintain that being like straight muscle. But I think that I'm probably most comfortable around 200 pounds.
Okay.
I like to be a whole lot of woman.
A whole lot of women.
Yeah, I like.
But
And
you
it's
look
cold.
amazing.
It's called to be bald headed and skinny. I can't. I gotta pick one or the other because Rochester cannot get this weather together. So I'm freezing.
But you look great.
Thank you. Thank
You look great.
I've never had a window where it's like I can afford to gain. So that's really cool, right? It's cool to get up. Like normally I'll be like, I don't deserve a latte and I don't deserve it. And I'm like, I deserve everything. I'm so skinny.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
So you know what? Okay. So this has been a great interview. And I want to thank you for coming on the rundown. You've been a beacon of light and hope. Because I know that's what you like to describe yourself as. I'm the light. So before we end, let's just say, if a man out here is trying to date Judge ASTACIO or former Judge ASTACIO, what would he have? What are you looking for in a man?
You know what? I am not looking for anything at all. It's funny because like I have a Tinder, right? And
because you're looking so good. So you're like actually... You're teasing men at this point because you lost all this weight. You look great. You got your tummy tucked.
Yeah, you should get you a me. You should get you a me. I mean, I'm so cute and I'm so smart and but I'm so difficult. You really don't want a me. Trust me. And also like the reality of the situation is I personally believe there's significantly more men than there are women. And so realistically, there are women out here that will let you sleep on their couch and drive their car while they go to work and not call them back and use their food stamps and go get Jordans when they're released. Like, you should not talk to me. I'm not going to let you do any of that stuff. And I'm going to have all types of expectations about you taking out my garbage and mowing my lawn and shoveling my driveway. Like, I don't even know. When men do talk to me, I'd be like, why? Do you know what you're signing up for? Because I annoy my own self sometimes. So I'm not looking for anything. I'm open to everything, obviously. What I will say is this. If you see me in real life, do not send me a message on Facebook after. And don't talk to me either. That was not an invitation. If you see me in real life, don't come talk to me. I hate when men try to talk to me when I'm with my kids. I do not like it at all. I think it's disrespectful and horrible. Please don't do that. And also, though, don't message me and say I saw you today because that's creepy and weird. I don't know who you are. I didn't know that you saw. Right. So then you can't talk to me when I'm with my kids and you can't send me a message. So sucks to suck.
So
My face just didn't align.
Yeah. So just nod. Just give
a
head nod. Yeah. Just,
hey, I did it the other day and he's like, well, what if I never see you again? I'm like, then this isn't meant to be. But I really believe in fate and stuff, So
you are a tough cookie. You're a tough cookie.
Right. So I'm telling you right now, don't inbox me. Don't at me. You don't want all of this. You don't want this over here. I ain't what you want. Trust me. I'm not. I'm too difficult. But if you're in the runnings, may the odds be ever in your favor. Come on. We about to Hunger Games out. We're going to have a competition to the death to see who gets to be my boyfriend.
Listen, you're going to have a lot of people message you after this trying to shoot their shot.
No, people talk to me and I appreciate it. It's very nice. It's very weird because like I said to you, I was always much bigger. So I didn't start to lose weight until I also started to be in the public eye. So it's weird for people to be like, oh, you're so, I didn't feel like that my own self. Post tummy tuck, I was finally
Right.
starting to be like, oh, whose
You
body is
fine,
that?
right.
That was new for me. You know, I'm used to being super overweight, so it's always flattering. It's like, oh, thanks, you think I'm cute. That's nice. But you ain't the only one trying to be the only one. So you gotta put in some real effort. I'm saying.
I have some guys back there that's like kind of like trying to shoot their shot. Listen, you are one of the strongest women that I know. You have your spirit and your demeanor, your disposition, everything about you is so refreshing. And I wish you so much success and stay out of trouble. How about that? Stay out of trouble.
I'm trying, but staying out of trouble often does mean being quiet. And I'm not going to be quiet.
You heard it here on the rundown with LETICIA ASTACIO is off the books. What is it called? Off the record? Off the record with Rocky B. Peace.